Hey guys, I'm Anna from Cobalt Creations. So we all know that bearded dragons are very expressive lizards, so today we're going to be discussing some of their behaviors and what they mean. The first behavior we're going to be discussing is probably the most entertaining to watch, and that is the head bobbing. Now the head bobbing is a display of dominance, and this is most common from the male bearded dragons. You will typically start to see this behavior once the bearded dragon reaches sexual maturity. This is kind of the way for a bearded dragon to say, hey, I'm the top dog. A lot of times if you find your bearded dragon bobbing his head in his cage, it's probably because he's looking at his own reflection, or he sees himself in a mirror, and sometimes other animals or even other things in the room can trigger this behavior. Now, if you're someone who breeds bearded dragons, you will find this behavior a lot during especially this time of year because this is the breeding season for bearded dragons. When you introduce a male and a female bearded dragon, the male dragon, to assert dominance, will fluff out his beard, which will then turn jet black, and then he will begin to bob his head up and down. This leads us to our next behavior, which is the arm wave. And this is a submissive behavior from the females as a response to the head bobbing. And this behavior is typically accompanied by a slow bowing motion from the females. Arm waving in general is just a submissive behavior from one bearded dragon showing the other, okay, I get it, you're the top dog, we're good, we're friends. Now back to discussing and putting female dragons with the males during the breeding season. Every now and then you will find a dominant female that wants to bob her head back at the male. This is not going to last very long because the male bearded dragon, who is larger, is going to grab her by the back of the neck and push her down to the ground until he finds that submissive arm wave behavior. Yeah. There's nothing politically correct about the animal kingdom. The third behavior we're going to be discussing is gaping. And this kind of scared me a little bit when I was younger because when I got my first dragon, I was unaware of this behavior. One day I walked into my bedroom and I looked in my dragon cage and he was sitting under his basking light with his mouth wide open. And I had no idea what was going on. Gaping is a completely normal behavior for bearded dragons, and this is what they do when they're trying to release excess heat from their body. Bearded dragons are actually not the only reptiles that do this. You can find this behavior from crocodiles or alligators as well. The more you know. The fourth behavior that you'll notice from your bearded dragon is digging in the cage. And honestly, I will be so surprised if you guys don't hear dragons in the other room over there. They've been digging the whole time. During this time of year is when the bearded dragons are going to be laying their eggs. So if you find your dragon digging around in its cage, that means that she's trying to find a place to lay her eggs. And if you see this behavior, then you'll probably want to move her into a separate container with some sort of dirt so that she can dig around and find a comfortable place to lay her eggs. And if you only have a female bearded dragon and you're thinking, well, no, this can't happen because I never put her with the male this year, bearded dragons can ovulate, they can produce eggs. They won't be fertile, but you'll still want to put her in a container that she's more comfortable laying her eggs in. And the final behavior we're going to talk about is outdoor aggression. I notice this behavior in my dragons all the time when I take them outside to give them sunlight. And even though my bearded dragons might be tame, they might be completely fine if I walk in their cage and I take them out to hold them. But once they're outside, a lot of times you'll notice that they'll open their mouth wide open, they'll fluff out their beard, they'll act very aggressive and act like they want to bite. Don't be afraid if you see this behavior. Bearded dragons are just very aware of their surroundings, especially when they're outside. So if you walk up to their cage suddenly and they see a large, what might look like a predator at first, they are going to try to defend themselves. Also keep in mind that birds are natural predators of bearded dragons, so if they see them flying around outside, it does tend to spook them a little bit. Even the tamest of dragons can act aggressive when they're outside. That's it guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we will see you guys in our next video. Bye! I don't like saying that. Let me read you that. Bearded dragons are not, it's sound like I was throwing up that line. Your bearded dragon is not just going to all of a sudden make a 180 and then just go full dragon on you and try to kill you and your whole family. I can't do it when you're laughing. Gaping is a completely normal behavior for bearded dragons. I can't focus now! Gaping is a completely normal behavior for bearded dragons. This happens. I'm not even laughing at this point, this is all you. Gaping is a completely normal behavior for bearded dragons, and this is what they do when they're trying to release excess heat from their body. Woo! She did it! Shut up.